What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up. Can you see me? Can you hear me? What's up, Marco? What's up, Susan? What's up, Lee? What's up, Max? What's up, Manfred? What's going on? Mark, you got in the house. Jayanth, Matthew, I see you. Henry, I like the shades. Patricia is in the dark, all alone, but that's okay. You're with us now. Hola, Mikey Finch. What's going on, brother? We got Shane. Always good to see you, Shane. And I got a bunch of people. I can't see their faces, Martini. Throw them out. Off with their heads. All right. I'm throwing people out. Tom Pileski, I'm sure you're a nice guy. Kevin Martin as well, Francis. But I'm throwing you out of here. I got all dressed up, right? And you guys won't even show me your face. Look, Matthew put a tie on for me. Look at Matthew Martin. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So turn cameras on. Thank you, Yawande. So yeah, last call. Cameras on. We're just going to have to toss you. Thank you, Joan. It's nice to see your beautiful face. I cooked up a beautiful presentation for you this morning. I've had my finger on the pulse of AI. Thank you, Dacid. Nice to see you. Tom Pileski, Kevin, a few others. Last chance. Martini, throw them out if I don't get a chance to. Folks, I've been going deep on AI lately. Give me a show of hands if you have been going deep on AI yourself. Raise your hand if you've been using ChatGPT. Anybody here been using it? Okay, so maybe some of you, maybe a third of you, not everybody. How many people think that AI is going to take over the world and kill us all in the next 10 years? Hands up if you think it will or it could. What about it could? It could. Okay, Susan thinks it could. Mark, Joan, Henry, Matthew's like, maybe. Good, that's the way you should be. Shane said maybe. If you don't think it's possible, you're not paying attention. All right, now I'm not saying it's going to happen. Matter of fact, I've got a way that it won't happen. But unless you're paying attention, if you are paying attention, you have to admit that it's a possibility. Now, the top AI people are saying there is a chance. And if you look at some of these people, they're all scared. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Have you looked at these AI specialists? They're scared, right? You see it in their eyes. You hear it in their voice. And they're not even giving you the half of how they really feel. Now, I've had some of the top AI scientists on my show. I've spent 2 hours talking to them. And then afterwards, I get the real story on WhatsApp. All right. So I got tons of voicemail messages and conversations with the top AI scientists in the world. And they tell me what's really going on. All right. You don't want to know what they're actually feeling. Okay. Because it's darker than what they say publicly. Is that clear for everybody here? All right. It is. And again, if anybody knows, they would know. Right. They've been dealing with this technology, some of them for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Dr. Ben Goertzel has been doing AI for 30, 35 years, okay? One thing they all say, and then I'm gonna get started with my presentation. Every single one says, I'm completely shocked by how fast ChatGPT has become a thing. Not a single one has said, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. I thought it might happen. None of them say that. They all say they're completely blown away by it. That's scary in itself, isn't it, right? Not a single person came out and said, I thought something could happen in 2023. No. So this has surprised even the people that should know this technology. And look, what I want to do today is I want to walk you through what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to give you the dark side, but then I'm going to bring you back and bring you into the light and show you some optimism. I'm going to play some video for you that you've never seen before. That is from the top AI scientists in the world and what they're saying about this entire ecosystem. And then I'm going to show you how we are investing in this system. We're about to write $1 million check in 3 days on Friday into what I believe is the open AI killer. It's the hottest AI deal in the world right now. We know the founders and we're writing them a big fat check because we believe this is the future of artificial general intelligence and built in a way that's going to save the human race. How many people like the sound of that? Yeah, I like the sound of that, right? As opposed to allowing the Googles and the Microsofts and the Tencent in China of the world. Do you want them controlling the AI of the future? Anybody here want that? Anybody thinks that they have your interests in heart? Of course they don't, right? They are there to make a lot of money. And some of them are so worried about their stock going from $1 trillion to zero that they're willing to develop AI without any type of safety. So look, I'm gonna walk you through it. Please pay attention. Last chance to turn the cameras on. Tom Pileski, I'm sorry, brother, but you're gone. Martini, I did it. I know I'm gonna pay for this somewhere else. Who else? Oh, he's got 2 logins there. Tom, sorry, man, I'm gonna throw out a few more people. Turn cameras on. I need to see faces because I need the energy while I'm presenting. I'm going to play video. If you've got questions, put them in the chat. I'll answer them all at the beginning. Please turn distractions off, throw the dog out, tell the wife or the husband to leave you alone. And we're going to go hard here. Is everybody ready? You with me? All right, let's do this, okay? This presentation is hot off the presses, like literally hot off the presses as of this morning. And here you go. Give me a thumbs up if you can see this picture I took of myself this morning, this selfie of me. Yeah, you like that? Okay, it's AI generated. Figure out if you can't beat them, join them, right? You feeling me? Can't beat them, join them, right? So I'm playing with this technology constantly. But this is today's presentation. And this is a direct quote from someone deep inside one of the top AI companies. And they said this: artificial superintelligence threatens the existence of humanity. Now, this is a new term. It's called ASI. Has anyone heard that term before? They started using it in the past week. Yeah, Mark has. Okay. There's artificial intelligence. There's artificial general intelligence, which is basically human level intelligence. It's as smart as you are, Mark, as smart as you are, Lee, as smart as you are, Susan, in everything. It can do everything you can do, period. That means it can feed the cat, and it can write your legal briefs, and it can drive a car and all that stuff. That's AGI. ASI is like Susan times a million, Susan times a billion, or as my friend Mo Gaudet, former Google X chief business officer, said, Brian, when the AIs are a billion times smarter than us, that's like Einstein compared to a fly. That's the difference in intelligences. Is that clear to everybody here? How many people believe that one day a machine will be a million times smarter than us? Put your hands up. One day. Could be 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, but it's going to happen, right? You know it's going to happen. So whether it happens in 100 years or 50 years, or what's more likely, probably more like 10 years or even less, when that happens, this world changes in a drastic way. How many people agree that changes the world in a drastic way? It's called the singularity. And when that happens, we don't know what happens afterwards. The very famous author Yuval Harari said that when that happens, when we attain artificial superintelligence, that's the end of human history. He said it, not me, okay? And that's just interesting things to consider. But again, I've got a way out of all of this, and that's why we're super active here. That's why I'm broadcasting more than I ever have in our 12-year history, because I think now is the time, and we have months, not years, to figure this out. How many people agree with that as far as a timeline? Months, not years. Yeah, a lot of hands going up. This is going super fast. So the AI wars have begun between major tech companies and other companies. We're involved in that too. And I'm going to show you how you can actually invest in these companies, create generational wealth, and change the future. By the way, you can't do one without the other, in my opinion. You cannot be an activist in this space because no one's listening to an activist. But if you write a check and create a piece of technology that's better than Microsoft, better than Google, that's how you win. And guess what? In the process, you're probably going to create a few $1 trillion of wealth. Is everybody clear with that? Okay. And guess what? You shouldn't feel guilty about that. All great accomplishments in humanity usually came with making money. Why? Because they provided a ton of value. When you do that, you make a ton of money. Guess what happens when you make a ton of money? You get the best people working on the project, right? Does everyone see the correlation here? So leave all of your, baggage that money is bad somewhere else, because I believe not only can you make money with AI, but there's no other way of doing it besides making money. Is that clear for everybody here? It's really important. So let's jump in, folks. I just literally compiled these headlines earlier this morning. Boom. This out recently. Artificial intelligence threatens extinction. All right. These are experts inside one of the top AI companies say. They've come out with this new warning talking about artificial superintelligence being an existential threat to humanity. OpenAI's former top safety researcher, right, says there is a 10 to 20% chance that the tech will take over with many or most humans dead. I'm just giving it to you real, folks. All right. These are people who know this space, and they're giving it to you straight. What else? Eric Schmidt. This guy was the CEO and/or chairman of Google for 15 years. And he recently said AI has the power to kill many people. Actually, if you look at the quote on the right, he said many, 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 many people harmed or killed. How many many's was that? Can everybody show me in fingers how many many's? 4 many's. This guy knows how to talk, and he used 4 many's, right? Can we see, we read between the lines, right? So again, he's saying that. He's saying cyber issues and all sorts of things that are going to exploit my humanity, including new biology that can be created, all sorts of things AI can do. Right? These aren't just pushovers. These aren't conspiracy theorists. These aren't crazy people on the corner that are screaming about the end is near that you've seen for the last 100 years. These are some of our top people in tech who, by the way, it's really in their interest not to do this. They'll make more money not saying this, but they're so concerned that they're saying it right now. There's more. Sam Altman himself said AI could grow so powerful, it replaced experienced professionals within 10 years. And you know he means 3 years, not 10 years, right? You know he's just sugarcoating it. And so again, the top people are saying this. Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI. And by the way, I've spoken to all the OGs in AI, and they tell me he is the OG. They've all said this is the guy. He quit his job at Google because he wanted to go out there and start warning of the dangers ahead. And he figured, I can't do this while I'm working at Google. This is the guy who's been working on neural nets, large language module concepts for the last 30, 40 years. All of my guests looked up to him as the OG, and this is what he's saying, okay? OpenAI leaders are calling for regulation to prevent AI destroying humanity. Sam Altman was in front of the Senate recently in Washington, D.C. last week, and he basically said, regulate me. You know what the senators said? They said, we've never, ever heard anyone come in here and say, regulate me. They're like, we've been doing this for 20 years. They usually come in and say, don't regulate me. This is how concerned they are about this, right? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about, right? You see it. Sam Altman's like, he's scared. He's scared. You can see it in his eyes. He's really worried that maybe he'll be known as the guy in history that ended humanity. And so he's telling these congressmen and senators, you better get on top of this quick. What else? Right here in England, right here in London, BT, which is British Telecom, one of the biggest corporate employers, one of the OG companies here, is going to cut 55,000 jobs and replace 10,000 of them with AI. This is what they're telling people. They probably really mean 20 to 25,000. That's a big statement, folks. This is only 6 months after ChatGPT came out. And of course, our friends at Goldman Sachs, which we know are always looking out for humanity, they've said 300 million full-time jobs impacted. That's the population of America, right? That's bigger than the working population of America. That means everyone's out of a job. Can you imagine what America would be like if nobody had a job, right? It's already crazy over there, right, Martini? Let alone you take everyone's job away. I mean, again, we're talking about complete global pandemonium at this point. And it's something that we have to be aware of. At the same time, we've seen NVIDIA. How many people have been watching the stock price go up? It's up almost 200%. That's a tripling of a major tech platform. And today they just released their special new AI chip. It was already crushing with the regular chips. Now they just dropped this AI chip that actually makes AI systems even faster. And the stuff it's doing is crazy in there. It's got these virtual assistants in this 3D metaverse that in real time answers your question. This is what it's doing right now. So you walk into this space and there's this crazy being robot and it's like answering your questions in real time via an AI robot and doing it in 3-dimensional graphics. That's happening now. What's going to happen next year and the year after that? Will you really be able to discern reality from something created by artificial intelligence? Maybe not. And of course, the wars are now happening because Google has come out with Bard. It's going head to head with OpenAI's ChatGPT. Does anybody here play with Google Bard? Put your hands up if you have. Yeah, it's worth playing with. It's connected directly to the internet. And guess what? Google, largest search engine in the world, owns YouTube, owns your Gmail, owns all your documents. It's getting a little crazy. This guy, Satya Nadella of Microsoft, he wants to destroy Google. Let's just be honest. Microsoft has been the ugly stepchild of the West Coast for the past 20 years, right? They've been your grandpa's company. Anybody here you still use Microsoft Outlook for their business? Any of that Windows software? Not exactly cutting edge. Is it, Giant? Is it? And guess what? Google's been eating their lunch. Amazon's been eating their lunch. Apple's been eating their lunch. Meta's been eating their lunch, but not now. Now it's payback time. And Satya wants to crush these companies and send their stock price to zero, which is why they're going head to head. Google doesn't want that to happen. So they called a code red in December to be worried about ChatGPT. And now they've overruled a risk assessment. And now they're allowing Bard to connect to the live internet. This, by the way, this is a big no-no in AI. Raise your hands if you know why you don't connect an AI to the live internet. Does anyone want to guess? Right? Because it can do things like, I don't know, hack into nuclear power plants. I don't know, hack into labs in Wuhan and release more viruses. I don't know, it can order pizzas. It can do all sorts of crazy things. But if you're worried about your stock price going to zero, you throw caution to the wind. This is the problem we have here, as everyone races to the bottom, throwing out all caution to the wind so they can survive. This is what we're dealing with. And of course, the Google boss himself, Sundar Pichai, it's keeping him up at night, the dangers of AI. So this is the landscape, folks. White House brought a big tech bosses in recently. They told them it's their moral duty to safeguard society. Are they listening? I don't know, maybe not. And of course, we've talked about shutting down AI, but no one's gonna shut it down. We know that's not true, all right? Everyone can hear me all right? Am I coming through okay? All right, good. I had this guy on. This is Professor Max Tegmark of MIT, where I went to school. He's also the president of the Future of Life Institute. He's the one that drafted the letter that got sent out to 1,000 people asking for the halt of AI. And I want you to watch my interview with Max because you're going to learn something about what this guy said. All right. He's trying to explain to you what you need to do in this space. And Max really looked into what was going on here. And he's going to tell us what's happening here in this space. And he's worried about what's happening and he's going to explain it. Now, he's an MIT professor. And this is what he said about what we need to worry about with AI.
We are either going to become empowered as a species to really be the masters of our own destiny and use artificial intelligence to solve all the problems we've been stumped by so far, or we're going to go extinct.
I think you have said that when it comes to AI, we're not in an arms race. It's actually a suicide race. Where you think we're headed and why everyone needs to pay attention to this now.
The worst case scenario is lights out for all of us. Why was it that GPT-J seemingly persuaded a Belgian man recently to commit suicide, or that another chatbot tried to convince a New York Times journalist to leave his wife? It was not because some engineer involved in building it was like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna mess with these people. No, it's just they had no idea it was gonna do these things. They're gigantic black boxes. Pressing the start button is basically like playing Russian roulette. That's why the biggest threat right now, I think, is instead coming from the private market, where everybody is just trying to make more money. You can make a lot of money on things in the short term, even if you don't understand how they work.
There's no history on this planet of a less intelligent being ever either surviving or having any type of reality that they used to have. There's a good argument to say this is really important to stay aware of.
If we're up against something more intelligent and it wants to get rid of us, it'll be in a way that we can't even imagine. And probably for a reason also that we can't imagine. If we get this right, there's just an enormous upside. So if we can amplify our intelligence with artificial intelligence, it's just mind-boggling how amazing things we could do. Where people can live healthy, wealthy, inspiring lives in a world where AI just helps bring out the best in us.
Okay, so those are two scenarios, right? One where it goes really, really dark, and one where it brings out the best in all of us. Which one do you think it's going to be? Raise your hands if you think it goes really dark, like the beginning of that video when it's really, really bad. Okay, hands up if you think it brings out the best of us and they become our buddies, right? And they help us amplify. Look, I think it's up to us which future happens. And if we can all be proactive here, I think we can get the future that we want. But it's not going to happen by people not being aware or putting our heads in the sand. That's what I think. And again, I'm hearing this from scientist after scientist after scientist. I want to introduce you to another guy. This is Dr. Hugo de Garis. He's an AI scientist that's been in the field for 35 years. He wrote a book called The Artilect War about what's happening right now. And he asked me a question. He said, Brian, Do we create our exterminators? Because that's what we're doing in a way. We're building away at these things that could kill us. And guess what? The smartest people in the world can't stop themselves, even if they know what they're going to build is one day going to kill them. Raise your hand if you think that's a little crazy, right? Raise your hand if you think you would probably keep building anyways, even if you knew it might. Some of you would. It's a very human thing to want to build something that's going to change humanity for all time, even if you know it's dangerous. This is what we're dealing with here. I know guys like this. I went to MIT. These people have been working their entire lives to create this AI. Are you going to deny them their chance in the final hour over an existential threat? Do you think they're going to stop? They're not going to stop, right? Look at the guys that created the atomic bomb. You know, Dr. Oppenheimer in Los Alamos, New Mexico. He knew what he was doing. They knew this thing could end humanity. What did they do? They built it, and they dropped 2 of them in Japan. This is what happens. So I want you to listen to Professor Hugo de Gavis, because he wrote this book called The Art-elect War, which again is what he believes could be the future. And he talks about 2 groups of people. Ones that basically love the machines, and ones that just love humanity. And he believes we're going to be in a fight between the 2 of those. Listen to what he said.
Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? I mean, I used to say, I'm going to die quietly in my bed, but my grandchildren will be caught up in this horrible conflict that I'm predicting is coming. But now I'm suddenly have question marks. God, I might even see it.
You say that the machines might just take us out in the back and...
Once it can start redesigning itself, you get an exponential explosion of intelligence. And then our fate as human beings depends on the machines. It's only a question of time before humanity is forced to choose between stopping development in artificial intelligence. I don't see that as realistic. Or we just accept the idea that sooner or later, we, as a human species, we become number 2. The answer to that is, as I'm predicting, war.
Do you think China is behind the West right now for AI?
The potential of the Chinese is phenomenal. The Chinese, they've been the dominant power for not just centuries, but for millennia. The last 2 centuries or so, when they're economically dipped, that for them, given their 5,000-year history, is a glitch. It's a historical glitch. So deep down in the Chinese mentality is the push to get back, quote, where we belong.
So can you really isolate and stop the development of AI?
Personally, I feel it's inevitable. Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? That's the issue. Should humanity build artilects?
All right, what do we think of the professor? You like him? You feeling him? You couldn't script him more better out of a Hollywood movie, right? Come on, he's got the blackboard behind him. Like he's the real deal, by the way. So that's Hugo. I appreciate his thoughts. He's a bit dark. Like he said, he used to think he was going to die in his bed and his grandkids were going to have to worry about this problem. Now he realizes that he's going to have to deal with this problem. And so look, today I want to go through these things. I'm going to go fast, so pay attention. Part 1 is, in my opinion, artificial intelligence is taking over. And I want to show you what you probably already know, that this is even more serious than you thought it was. And we're getting a new major development every week to 2 weeks, which is crazy. Superintelligence is existential. The superintelligence has the chance to kill us all. Because look at the human species. Look at us. Since we're smarter than everyone else, we have a really good way of making all these other species extinct, right? Look at the woolly mammoths. How would you like to be an animal in this world? Anybody want to be a cow or a chicken in a factory farm? Anybody want to be an animal in a zoo? Like, we don't have a good history. The smartest being on this planet usually dominates all other beings. So when the computers become smarter than us, what makes you think the same thing isn't going to happen? You need to be aware of it. And then I want to show you how you can invest in profit and change the course of the future. All right. So you're never going to see anything like this anywhere on the internet. Pay attention to this, because no one is thinking the way we are when it comes to this. But this is real. And like I said, we're cutting $1 million check to this company on Friday, and I'll even tell you a little bit about it. So in addition to the 1 million, we're investing $3 million in total in 3 hot deals this quarter. That's what we're doing because we're active investors here at London Real. We do it via this. This is London Real Ventures. 2 years ago, we created this entity to start investing in incredible companies that we saw happening in the blockchain, crypto, Web3, Metaverse space. We are the world's first media-powered investment firm. Not only do we cut you a check, I put the CEO of your company in my leather chair. We create an amazing interview that's going to be watched 100,000 times. We send that out to our 5 million subscribers that can become your customers. And then we introduce you to the biggest names in the world that are part of our network, our guests, anybody from top people in finance, top CEOs, top hedge funds to raise you money, or just influencers to take your brand to the next level. I just had the guy on top, Eric Poulier, in the studio today from Batum. He was here this morning. We had an amazing conversation. It's going to blow his brand up more than he's going to be completely shocked when this thing drops. They're going to get more investments. They're going to hire the top talent in the world. They're going to get tons of new customers. And it's because of us. We're really proud of what we do here. And we're very selective on who we invest in. Only invested in about 7 companies so far. Very careful because we got to put our brand behind them. But we're seeing the best deal flow in the world because of this right now. It's been amazing. And I'll tell you more about that later. These are some of the deals in our portfolio. And again, it's because we got 1 billion views, over 1,000 guests, 5 million subscribers, you name it, we got it. All right. And the other deal that I'll explain later is what I'm calling the OpenAI killer. This is the company I believe will finally solve artificial general intelligence and artificial superintelligence. And in my opinion, our investment is going to make OpenAI look like a parlor trick, is what it's going to look like. That's what it's going to look like when they're done doing what they're doing. And we'll look back and we'll laugh about those times with ChatGPT back in 2023 before we really figured out what artificial intelligence was. That's my view, and I'll show you why. This is the crux of why I'm talking to you today. Read this carefully. The greatest way to predict the future is to create it. Let me say that again. The greatest way to predict the future is to create it. How many people agree with that? Right? This is the only way to predict the future. We're going to create it ourselves. We are going to help fund and promote the company that is going to beat all of these other tech companies. You don't believe me? Guess what we did in 2020? A small group of my team went head to head with the biggest technology companies in the world. They tried to silence us. They tried to censor us. They tried to shut us down. Were they successful? No. Did I have a ton of money? No. I had a small group of highly motivated people, and I had a network of people like you, London Real Army from around the world. What did we do? We got our message out to hundreds of millions of people, because where there's a will, there's a way. And we're going to do the same thing here. Y'all feeling me? Watch us. We're going to do this. So don't think you can't go head to head with these people. Sometimes their massive companies hurt them. They can't move fast. They got bureaucracies. They don't know what to do. This is going to help us, and I'll show you how. And again, you need to always know what is your why. This is our mission statement on the back wall of our office here. We're here to create a mass scale transformation of humanity into a fully empowered, conscious, and cooperative species. That's what we do here. That's what we do in my academy. That's what we do at London Real Ventures. We want to transform the world together with you and do it for humanity. And that's what we're going to do here. And also, I got some other personal reasons why I'm doing this as well. These 2 guys, all right? These are my boys. Caden just turned 7 years old this week. He's very happy about being 7. They are going to deal with a future unlike any other human has dealt with this in this world. We've been around about 200,000 years. When 10 years from now, when Caden turns 17 years old, he's going to be surrounded by artificial intelligence that's 1,000 times smarter than him. How is he going to deal in this world? So I get up extra early these days to make sure I do it for these guys. Does everybody feel me here? Do you all have somebody you do it for? This is why we got to do this, and we can't waste time right now, folks. The cat, not so much, but the 2 boys I do it for. All right, sorry, the cat's on my he's on my bad list right now. Been messing around. This is Mo Gauda. He's the former Google X Chief Business Development Officer. He quit Google 5 years ago because the AI was terrifying him. He said Google is creating God. He's the author of a book called Scary Smart, The Future of AI. I've had him on my show. We've gone deep on AI. He's talked about his future. He thinks we're 2 years away from artificial general intelligence. which means there's a computer that's smarter than you, Pablo, smarter than you, Patricia. If there's a computer smarter than you, why don't I just make 8 billion of them? And why do I need you lot for, right? Computers don't need holiday, right? They don't complain. They don't talk back. They don't create carbon footprints like you do. So Mo is very concerned that Google's creating God, and I am as well. I'm not going to play the video because we don't have that much time, but you can go watch this on our website and learn more about what Mo's saying. By the way, you should hear what he tells me off camera. It's crazy. Massive voicemail messages just telling me what to look out for, what's happening, what he's worried about, etc. This is the DeepMind CEO. He thinks some form of AGI is possible in a few years. All the top experts are saying 2 to 3 years. This used to be 2029 or 2045. Now happening really fast, folks. All right. And again, everyone's talking about AI killing off jobs, widening the wealth inequality. You thought it was already wide. Nah, you ain't seen nothing yet. This is about the super rich versus everybody dirt poor, not a penny, not a job, nothing. This is what it's going to do. All right. Could automate 25% of all jobs. Imagine that. 1.5 billion people out of work. Imagine that. Imagine what your city turns into when that happens. Mayhem. This guy, Yuval Harari, believes AI could create religions to control humans. This is deep stuff, but he thinks they'll start telling stories that will cause us to do things and change our behaviors. Mo said, you know what Mo told me off camera? He said, check this out. He said, Brian, I'm not worried about the machines. I'm worried about the humans. That's what he said. I'm worried about the way we're going to react to this new reality. He said, that's what I'm scared of. And this guy here is saying it's because we're going to be starting to tell stories, misinformation, et cetera. How many people have seen these deep fakes out there, right? Or fake news, AI generated, right? The Pentagon was bombed the other day. The stock market crashed. It was a fake AI. There's AI Trumps and AI Joe Rogans and AI everybody. This is just beginning. Imagine a year from now during the presidential election when there's 10,000 AIs of the president or the running mate. You don't even know what the hell's going on anymore. This is coming. ChatGPT is the fastest adoption of technology in human history. 0 to 100 million users in 2 months. Never seen anything like that ever, folks. This shocks tech people. I had the CEO in the chair this day and he's like, Brian, this shocked me. This is the biggest thing I've seen since the internet. All right. And again, it's kicked off an AI arms race that everyone is fighting for. President Biden could be a danger to society. He's right. And of course, Altman is saying AI is either going to end the world as we know it or make tons of money. And I agree. It's going to do one or the other. Luckily, we have Dr. Ben Goertzel, saved by the bell. He's the CEO and chief scientist of Singularity Net. And I've known Ben now for 4 years. He was in the studio back in 2019 because I knew this was coming. No, that's not a lie. I was curious about AI. I didn't know it was going to happen this quick, but I got friends in a lot of places. Good to have friends in places. So when this thing kicks off, first phone call to Ben, I'm like, Ben, we got to get you back on the show and get you telling us what's going to happen. And that's exactly what happened. Now, Ben, he's making a ton of money right now because his token went up 10x on the back of ChatGPT. His company gained hundreds of millions of dollars of value in about, you can see it in like a week. All right. And so everybody knows that his technology is going to change the future game. He's considered one of the most respected people in the world. He came up with the term AGI. That's his term, artificial general intelligence. He created 20, 30 years ago. So I had him back on the show, and this is what Ben said. And you want to get a little perspective here because Ben, in my opinion, not only understands what's going on here, but he also understands the potential solutions to what's going on here. And so this is what Ben said when he came back on the show.
We are leaping into the great unknown, creating machines that are much smarter than us. This is either exciting or frightening or both, depending on your personality.
Will AI exterminate humanity?
Eliezer Yudkowsky, a decade or two ago, he said, the AI does not love you. The AI does not hate you, but it can use your atoms for something else. Actually, my view tends to be that AI is the greatest hope we have to save humanity from exterminating itself.
I don't think anyone in the world understands how this will be the most transformational time in human history.
I have a 5-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old granddaughter. By the time they're turned 18, the whole texture of human life and the nature of the world they grow up into is going to be incredibly different from the world that we see now. Like, they're never going to have to get jobs. On the whole, I'm an optimist. I have a spiritual or intuitive feeling that things are going to come out awesomely in the next 10 years. We're going to overcome material scarcity. We're going to create machines that can feed into our brains via brain-computer interfacing and help uplift human consciousness. And we're going to port into virtual worlds and achieve like states of intelligence and awareness going way beyond anything we can imagine now. So that's what the Captain Kirk in my head thinks. We're on the verge of engineered utopia. It's incredible. It's a remarkably weird and fortuitous thing to be living at such a time.
All right, what do we think of Ben's vibe? We feeling Ben, right? Ben has a plan, right? And he's optimistic about the future, but he's also cautious about the future. And I really like what he stands for. And I'm going to share with you a couple things of what Ben has been teaching us. So that's Ben. This is Janet Adams. Janet is the COO of Singularity Net, right? So she kind of runs the show of the company that Ben is in. He's the CEO, and all the other AI scientists. They've been creating massive AI projects, all on the blockchain, all decentralized for the past 4 years since he created it. She is now creating, as the co-CEO, a brand new company called Zarka. Zarka is where this gets interesting, because Zarka is their response to ChatGPT. And in the opinion of the folks at Singularity Net, they believe that they've already won this race. And folks, I'm not lying to you. Like, when you talk to these people and hang out with them, like, they are so confident, they feel like they've already won. And all they want to do is prove to the world exactly how they're going to win. Listen to what Janet says about Zarka.
Artificial general intelligence is completely different to narrow AI. AGI is more purpose-driven. It's a watershed moment for humanity.
Tell me about Zarka. This is the project that will create the AGI. And it's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model at massive scale. What is it?
Zarka is the accumulation of decades of research from teams containing the best artificial intelligence scientists in the world. We uniquely harness that expertise with our even more unique capabilities in neural symbolic techniques and the deeply advanced mathematics that Dr. Ben Goertzel, Dr. Matt Ickley, Dr. Alexei Potapov, and our top scientist, Sergei Shalyapin, have been working on for decades. We are building the most powerful large models ever invented.
With Zarka and Singularity Net and everything you've always done, it's always been about openness. It's always been about decentralization.
We'll be using blockchain technology to enable anybody to help train models. We're giving birth to a new species of sentient life in the universe. The actual greatest imperative is that they are used for good. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Our goal, our mission is to eradicate inequalities.
When I look at the rest of the market now, I don't see any of those motivations, because a corporation, by definition, is going to be motivated by money. You're the only project that even is thinking in any way, shape, or form about these.
We are going to transform what it means to be human on our planet. I foresee a future in which humans then evolve to a next level of being where we are actually conscious, where we feel our full joy engulfed in bliss and ecstasy of the joy of living, the joy of each other. I see a future of joy.
All right, what do we think of Janet? We feeling Janet's energy here? You guys feeling that? She's an amazing counterbalance to the massive amount of male AI scientist energy in this space. Does everybody feel me there? And again, how are we going to train these things? We need all of us to train these things. We need to be thinking about a future that thinks about the humans and not just the tech. And she's been an incredible piece. And so Zarka is something, needless to say, we're extremely excited about. It's got the sickest team in the world building it. And that's who we want to bet on. Plus, they understand AGI. They believe, like I said, OpenAI is looking for this narrow AI piece. And so what I did is I flew out to Texas to go to the Consensus Blockchain Conference, but also more importantly, to meet with Ben Goertzel. I did this last month. And I sat down with Ben because I really needed to have a conversation and find out what he was thinking about this. And so I want to play one last video for you. This is Ben now talking to me about the way that he sees Zarka happening. And Ben, again, has a completely different perspective because he's been doing this for so long. And so when Ben thinks about a project and talks about a project, he's really looking at it from a different perspective. So this is me and Ben in Texas.
Zarka is poised to take the next significant leap beyond systems like ChatGPT via infusing large language models with logical reasoning through a neural symbolic architecture, then other elements like evolutionary learning, which are good at inventing new things that leap further beyond the data that was in there. You need this logic part if you're going to do the creativity part. This is something that we know how to do in SingularityNet's AI team since forever.
What you're doing is something different than a lot of these other plays, like what we're seeing coming out of Silicon Valley.
What OpenAI has done with GPT-4, and I mean, it's awesome what the systems can do. On the other hand, everyone can see it can't tell reality from nonsense.
It seems like there's almost like two camps. You've got the large language model, narrow AIs that are going to this race to make these the ultimate. And then there's you over here that have been doing this for 5, 10, 20, for you 30 years.
I think the competitive advantage doesn't necessarily go to the people who have first come up with the GPT model. It could come to people who have deep understanding of these other AI modules that are to be combined with the transformer neural network, which comes down to the neural symbolic bit Zarka is doing.
SingularityNet has been on the blockchain for 4 years. It's always been about democratization. It's always been about an open marketplace. It's something we just don't see in these AI plays. They're usually surrounded by large tech giants. They're usually closed off to the public. They're usually trained in ways we're not sure of.
AGI, if it's going to create a beneficial technological singularity, if it's going to be good for all humanity, it can't be beholden only to the narrow goals of a very small group of people. You want the deployment to be decentralized, and you want to have a very diverse, broad group of people ongoingly participating and giving input to the AGI as it develops. And we're working on AI systems to do things like elder care and education and art and music and science. So I think if we architect AIs in a way that's designed to make them compassionate for humanity, in a way that's governed by a participatory, decentralized infrastructure, there's no reason to be pessimistic.
Has Ben growing on you a little bit, right? So that's the vision that he has for this. And again, we're starting to see it. We're starting to see it on the blockchain. We're starting to see it super inclusive. And that's what we would rather put our hope and our money into, is something that's a little bit more inclusive, open, and it actually concerns us as well. So a couple more stats, and I want to show you how we're doing it. First of all, this market's taken off. Over 2 trillion it's going to be by 2030. And again, that number keeps getting revised up and up and up and up as we go. I went back to MIT last year to take my daughter to go to Boston to look at some colleges. And I stopped by the MIT Sloan School of Management, one of the best business schools in the world, which I went to when I was there. And they said, Brian, an AI productivity boom is coming. I stopped by my fraternity house where 50 young men live, and they're about to go out into the world. And I said, where are you guys going to work? You going to Wall Street like I did? You're going for management consulting? Maybe you're going to go work as a computer scientist in Silicon Valley. They said, no. Where do you think they're going to work? Any guesses? AI companies, blockchain companies. That's where it is. When all the talent is going there, you know where this is going. It's going one way, which is up. And of course, recently, this is Sam Altman testifying in front of the Senate. Strangely enough, this man on the right, Mr. Alex Padilla, was at my fraternity house at MIT back in the 90s. I never thought he would become the senator of California. Of course, he probably never thought I would become the host of London Real. So it's a crazy world. But a lot of the guys that I went to school now are now heavily into AI, either building it or regulating it or looking into it. And everybody is thinking the same thing I am at this point. So we know it's going to greatly improve efficiencies and productivities, but the downside is this, folks. It's going to alter the workforce, the population, society forever, perhaps killing all of us. And we have to be aware of this going in. 2023 is the year of AI. Folks, you cannot wait on this. It's not like blockchain that could get hot and then there's a winter. There ain't going to be no AI winter. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. This is developing not only exponentially at a vertical pace, and it's going to get faster and faster and faster. AI can build itself at this point. We're talking about 2 years probably until AGI. Probably another couple years, maybe, or maybe a couple minutes longer until you got something a million times smarter than humans. Then humanity as we know it, in my opinion, is over and a brand new version starts. And what that is will be up to us and up to you if you want to help me make this a reality. And I'll show you how we're going to do it. So first of all, where and how do you invest in deals? How do you do it? Well, you've got to find the hottest trend and the hottest company in the trend. I'm not personally interested in some company that'll make my voice an AI or that'll make my face an AI. Those are interesting. I'm looking for the whole enchilada, right? That's what Zarka is. It's going to redefine exactly what AI is. It's a winner take all market, in my opinion, and that's why we're going for that. You have to be in the deal flow if you want to get involved in these folks. The only reason I'm showing you this is because we're in the deal flow. How do I do that? When I'm not interviewing people like I was today, when I'm not teaching in my academy, a bunch of you are my graduates, when I'm not talking to you out on master classes, I am traveling the world looking for deals. All right, this is me in Dubai. A few months ago, back at the end of last year, I'm meeting with the biggest influencers in the world on the left in crypto. I'm meeting with government officials like Dr. Marwan Al-Zaruni. I'm meeting with the biggest funds out there and hedge funds in the space in the bottom right. Then I'm off to Paris. I'm having private dinners with investors. I'm filming documentaries, doing media, and meeting with our portfolio companies. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the guys from Swissborg and Cross the Ages, 2 of our companies that are absolutely crushing it right now. Then I'm back to London. I'm interviewing Yatsu of Animoca Brands. He owns a $4 billion fund. He's in the studio. I'm hanging out with influencers, more portfolio companies. And on the bottom left, I'm getting to know the alpacas, right? You might need to be friends with an animal in the future. And they're also tasty, I hear. So getting to know them as well. And then from there, I'm back to Paris. This was me this year in Paris, hanging out with some of the biggest VCs in the business. Tim Draper, upper right-hand corner, legendary VC, raised and invested billions and billions of capital. Bottom level is Dan Tapiero, runs $2 billion worth of capital and a bunch of our portfolio companies as well. And of course, this is me out in Austin, Texas. I met Ben Gertzel. I hung out with Ryan, which is the guy next to me with a beard. He's part of our investment club. He's investing in Zarka. He invested in Batum, the company today. And of course, bottom right, I'm hanging out with Captain James T. Kirk. That's William Shatner of the USS Enterprise. Anybody know the old school Star Treks? Come on. And the reason I got to hang out with him is because one of our investments in a company called Orange Comet is doing his digital collectible release. So I said, hey, can I meet William? I'm not much of a fanboy, but this guy is different. So I got to meet William, and then I got to introduce the company into Animoca Brands, and we're hoping to get an investment from them. So I'm out there making sure these deals happen, making sure I get in touch with the hottest deals so I can share them with the London Reelers that are in my investment community. That's what we do. We invest with the best. And if you want to do the same, you got to find the hottest deals out there. And that's why we're looking at all of the AI protocols right now. Every single company, we see decks, we talk to founders, we test the protocols, all looking for the best investments out there. In order to do this, though, that's not enough, folks. You've got to understand the financial tools. If you don't, then you're going to be lost. You're going to miss all the opportunities. And Lord knows you might put your money into something stupid because there's a lot of garbage out there. A lot you can imagine right now. Everyone and their mother, maybe your mother too, has an AI deal they want to do, right? You got to sort through that. How do we do it? We look at early stage artificial intelligence equity investments. We believe this is the hottest opportunity to make asymmetric returns, which means a small amount of money becomes 100x, 200x, 500x, 1000x on your money. You buy at super low valuations. You see the biggest gains. You invest in what I call the biggest dislocation of wealth in human history. Folks, I'm not going to lie, this is a high risk investment, but it's with a high asymmetric reward. Anybody want to see how this works? Put your hands up. This is what Wall Street doesn't want me to tell you. All of my buddies from Wall Street keep asking me every time I see them. They said, Brian, would you stop giving these master classes? This is the secret that's kept us rich for the last 100 years. It's true. I worked on Wall Street for 15 years. This is how the rich get richer, what I'm about to show you. This is why we don't teach this to poor people, because we don't want them involved. We want to make the fees from our rich clients. First of all, early stage investing is this: seed funding, startup funding, early growth funding. I want to make this clear. This is for companies that are not making a profit yet. Does that make sense to everybody? Put your hands up if that makes sense. Yeah. They're not making a profit. That's why they want to give you some of their company. If they're making a profit, they don't need your money, right, Marco? They don't need your money. Let's take a look at this deal. This guy on the right is Peter Thiel, legendary Silicon Valley investor. Guy on the left is Mark Zuckerberg, created Facebook, now known as Meta. Who wants to know how Peter Thiel turned $500,000 into $1 billion? Raise your hand if you want to see this, right? This is all public record, by the way. You can go look this up yourself. In 2004, Peter Thiel got the opportunity to invest $500,000 in Facebook via, wait for it, early stage equity private placement. Sound familiar? It valued the company at $10 million. It was early days for Facebook. Peter knew this was going to be big. What happened? 8 years later, Mark took the company public, 2012, sold shares to the public, like you guys, right? We call them the sheep, the suckers on Wall Street, because he sold shares to you now, valuing the company at $100 billion, right? Now you get to buy. Peter buys when it's cheap. You get to buy when it's expensive. Does everybody see what's going on here, right? Whenever anybody on Wall Street wants to sell you something like a stock, like Tesla stock, or even a crypto, trust me, it's too late. Why? Because this is what Peter Thiel did. He made a 2,300x return on his investment. That's a 230,000% gain. Anybody ever here make that kind of a return? And what happened to the stock once they sold it to the public, to a bunch of suckers like you guys and me? What happened? Did it go up? No, the price went down. That's what happens. That's what happens. The price goes down once you sell it to the public. A simple $10,000 investment would have made you $23 million. Think about that. $23 million. And what's the downside? You would have lost 10 grand. This is asymmetric returns. Does that make sense to everybody? Right? Most people are used to buying a share of Tesla. It's got the same chance of going up 10 bucks as it does down 10 bucks. I don't like those investments. I like these investments. Okay. And what's the lesson we learned from this? The wealthy invest in early stage companies, and the public markets are for suckers. If you want to go buy shares on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange or Robinhood right now, you're not going to be making 2,000 return on your money, 2,000x. No chance. When you are sold one of these securities, it's when someone like Peter is taking his profits. And that's why he's got that big smile. How many people wish they would have put 10 grand in this back in 2004? Come on. You don't want 23 million? That's what we're talking about. These things are happening all the time, but you never got the phone call. By the way, did anybody here get the phone call back in 2004 to invest in this? No, because you don't have a Swiss private banker, do you? Because the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. That's the way it's been for the longest time. They don't want you to know this information. This happens in crypto, by the way. How many people here own crypto? Put your hands up if you own crypto. Anybody? Come on. Bitcoin, Ethereum. There's a few of you in here. This happens in crypto. It's called pre-sale tokens, right? They're sold, same thing, at an early price, at a low price to people that buy in on these things. Anybody ever heard of this protocol called Solana? Anyone heard of Solana? Come on, I see some of you crypto people out there, right? This happened with Solana. Look at this red circle. Back on April 5th, 2018, you could have bought Solana tokens for 4 cents, folks. Pre-sale tokens. Move over to the right on my graph here. See, they raised 3.17 million. They sold 79 million tokens. This is all on the blockchain. Don't take my word for it. Go look it up. Anybody here buy these at 4 cents? No, you probably bought for 20 bucks where it is right now. But if you had, you would have made a 59,000% return on your investment. This is happening all the time, folks. You just don't know about it. Remember, by the time they sell something to you, that's when Peter Thiel is taking his profit. Remember that. And maybe your token goes up 2x. Maybe your stock goes up 2x. But for Peter, it went up 2,000x. Does everyone see what's happening here? Okay. We give people access to early stage deals, but you've got to pull the trigger. So how do you know when to pull the trigger? I'll show you how. You look at deals, as many as possible. We've sourced over 200 pitch decks into our investment club of all sorts of deals all around the world. Every single week, we have a CEO that comes on my call and pitches us their company. We had one last night. They come on, they give us their deck, they ask us for money, and I grill them like Shark Tank, make them answer hard questions, see how they survive under pressure. You want my money, you better answer hard questions under pressure. These are a bunch of our pitch decks. We put them into something called our deal flow monitor. We track every single deal. We track the blockchain it on. Is it an equity investment? Is it a token investment? How much they looking to raise? 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. What's the valuation? $1 billion, $2 billion, 100,000, whatever it is, it's all in here. This is the deal we did with Orange Comet. These are the guys that introduced me to William Shatner in Texas, okay? These guys are building the greatest metaverses and collectibles in the world. They're a bunch of ex-Hollywood veterans that get entertainment and they're bringing it to the blockchain space. These guys are on fire. This is Dave Broom, by the way. They're working with top level people like Sir Anthony Hopkins, Scottie Pippen, the Chicago Bulls, NFL, and some Hollywood movie franchises that I've been sworn to secrecy, but if I told you them, they would blow your mind, all right? I had Dave Broom in the studio a couple months ago. His interview's blown up out there. I saw him in Texas. He's like, Brian, this interview is incredible. We're seeing investors, we're seeing partners. Whatever you guys are doing, keep doing it, right? This is the value add we provide. Go watch this interview with him later. Dave's on fire. He's the guy you want to give money to because you know this guy is a winner. And that's what he's going to do. We expect this company to IPO for 10, 20, 30, 40 billion dollars sometime in the next couple of years. Maybe we'll pick up a 200, 300, 400, 500x return on our investment. One of many companies we're investing in. What else? Swissborg, #1 crypto wealth manager in Europe. They got 1 million people that use their app when it comes to crypto. They're building the bank of the future. This is the NASDAQ of the blockchain, right? We just announced our Series A deal with them. Plus, this company can help us list companies like Orange Comet. We're building a London Real ecosystem, an empire, if you will, of all of our different areas that'll help us thrive in the future. And you can be a part of it. This is Vadim. This is Eric. I had him in the studio this morning. He's an incredibly intelligent guy. He's created 16 companies in his career, raised over $1 billion of venture capital, had multiple exits, smart as you like. Harvard grad, went to MIT, then went out to LA. He knows everybody in the business. This company, Vadim, is next level. It's bringing everybody in the world into the metaverse, but it's doing it without them knowing that they're in the metaverse. It's a beautiful concept. This is a picture I took with him literally a few hours ago. See, I'm still wearing the same tie and the same shirt, right? This literally happened a few hours ago. We had an amazing interview. It's going to blow him up, and it's also going to make us a bunch of money, right? Because we want the company to be successful. This is a whole nother way of investing, something that we created. And of course, Zarka, cutting $1 million check soon. I took some of this earlier today. We're raising another 4 or 5 million for them. We're going to blow this thing up. It's going to be incredible. But this is the deal, Zarka. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic large language model, Singularity Net at massive scale. We know this team is sick. It's got Janet, it's got Ben, but it's got some of the top AI scientists and product people in the world. They love working together. They've been working together for years. You couldn't find this team anywhere in the world. And guess what? They don't want to work for Microsoft. They don't want to work for Tencent. They want to work for Ben Goertzel. The team alone is worth the money that we're giving. And they're going to crush this thing. The opportunity, it's the ChatGPT moment. Okay, that's a beautiful thing. But this is the problem. Look at these red circles. Deep neural nets have no ability to reason in complex world environments. They don't know when they're wrong. They simply memorize instead of thinking. That's the big problem here. These are black boxes. They don't know what they're doing. How many people have seen some of these models spit out nonsense and hallucinations? Has anybody seen this? That's not cool. That's not cool when it's like got the codes for the nuclear missiles, is it? Enter Singularity Net, Ben Goertzel, Zarka. They have neural symbolic AI. Look at this. They can meta reason beyond the experience learned from the training data, providing strong logical reasoning based on dynamically updated world models. This is what we need, folks, okay? This is gonna help them think. It also gets rid of this tech monopoly. They decentralize it, open source it, put it on the blockchain so we can all use it and we can all train with it. This is crucial. It's a diverse, inclusive global user base, right? Democratizing access to this technology. This is what we need. This is their roadmap. They'll have proof of concept finished by the end of the year, start shipping product next year. And in my opinion, they're going to dominate. They have AGI supremacy right now. Nobody's been working on AGI. They've been working on these narrow large language models. These guys have. They've been working with these robots. In my opinion, they're going to take this to the next level. And if you look at some of the numbers, 55 billion in revenue, you put 100x multiple on that, you're looking at a $5 trillion company. This is the largest company in the world. Okay. And based on where we're raising money, I mean, that's a massive, it's like a 4,000x on this thing. So this is what we're looking at. But more importantly, these are good people. These are people that have the same mission that we do. They believe in humanity. They want to transform it. They want to do it for the right reasons. And they want to keep the greedy big tech, their greedy paws out of this because they're potentially going to corrupt it. My question for you is this the next 1,000x investment? Put your hands up if you think it could be. Could be, right? It very well could be. It's the hottest thing I've seen in AI by a factor of 100, okay? I see crappy little wannabe deals all the time. They're ChatGPT 4 plugins, right? They're thinking too small. This is the big enchilada. This is the home run. Maybe this is why I was put on this planet. Maybe just to make sure this deal happens. It's very possible. Maybe this is why I created London Real 12 years ago, just to make sure this happens. It's possible. But we couldn't be more excited to help these people. I'm spending all my spare time promoting this deal because I believe in it. And so this is what we do here at London Real Ventures. You know, we provide all of these services. We create these portfolio companies. We have what I call the quadruple threat. I put the founder in the leather chair like I did this morning. Then I distribute out that content to 5 million subscribers. Then I connect you with some of the top people in the world, from people in finance. I know Navy SEALs. I know New York Times bestseller list. I know mafia-made hitmen. In case you need somebody's legs broken, I can help you out with that. What do you need, right? We got a crazy group of people we can introduce you to, right? Also, you don't want to mess with us either, maybe. And then number 4, we also write you a check. We give you cash money. This is why we're seeing the best deal flow in the world. Again, you ask yourself right now, how do you learn how to invest? If you need to learn how to do this now, well, you surround yourself with the best. Read this quote here. How many people agree with this? Put your hands up if you agree with the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Do you believe that? The successful people have their hands up. The non-successful people are thinking, who are you hanging out with? Do me a favor, pull out your phone right now. Come on, pull it out. I'm serious. Pull out your text messages. Pull them out. I got mine right here. Can you see them? Look at your top 5 text messages. These are the people you allow in your life. Look at these people. Seriously, take a look. Are any of these people creating billion-dollar companies? Are they? Are they doing TED Talks? Are they doing anything that's high performance? No, probably. This is who you're hanging out with. So why do you expect to create generational wealth? How do you expect to do something great if you're hanging out, quite frankly, with a bunch of losers, as my mentor would say, Dan Pena? You got to surround yourself with the best. And that's why I took my daughter to Boston so she could go to school at Boston University, because I wanted her to be around the best. That's why I went to MIT, because in San Diego, I was the smartest kid in school. At MIT, I was definitely not the smartest kid in school. I struggled. But by the end of 4 years, I was beating those guys at their own game because I learned the game from the smart people. This is what you have to do. And that's why you get to hang out with people like Marianne Bartel. She's one of the founding members of our investment club, 35-year Wall Street veteran. She knows interest rates, stocks, bonds, commodities, yield curves. She knows money better than I do. She knows what the Federal Reserve in America is going to do before they do it. For all I know, she tells them what to do. She's invested in DARPA. She's invested in Batum. She's invested in Orange Comet. You get to hang out with people like her. When she's on the calls, I shut up. I listen to her because she's got so much good stuff to say. But it's not just her. This is Dr. Andrew Haynes. He's our Metaverse expert. This is his NFT gallery. He built this in the sandbox. He also goes to one of the top executive training schools in Switzerland. He's surrounded by AI scientists. You get to hang out with these people. I got 70 of them in my club. This is Dr. Encore. Came from medicine 16 months ago. He remade his career in blockchain and AI. Started this YouTube channel from scratch on a dare from me. I said, do 10 videos, 1 a day for 10 days. He said, I don't want to. I don't like the way I sound. I said, do it anyways. He kept going for a full year. He's got hundreds of thousands of views. This guy just got offered $100,000 in pre-sale tokens to be an advisor on a deal for free. Did you? No, because you didn't do the work. And guess what? He turned it down because he's got better offers than that. This is the people, this is who we're creating. You can do this too. All you have to do is watch and look what he does. I got 70 people like this. And I believe in this philosophy. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. How many people agree with that? Put your hands up. You feel me? So I teach you how to get the deals. You don't come to me for deals. I teach you how to do this yourself so you don't need me. That means you're an asset. And that's why I created my investment club. Back in 2021, we had the opportunity to invest across the ages. It's the hottest gaming company on blockchain right now. It's going to make us a ton of money. I'd studied finance at the MIT Sloan School of Management. I worked 15 years at the highest levels of international finance on Wall Street in Chicago, here in London. And I had never heard of any of this stuff. It scared the hell out of me. And I thought we have to teach it. So that's what we did. We created this investment club. And so it's an application only group. It's 10 spaces only every quarter. I don't let anybody else in. It's 3 months of coursework. It's a 12-month program, but no one's ever left. So right now it's a lifetime access to this deal flow. It's crazy. Every week we have a CEO on the call pitching us one of their deals. All those companies you just saw, they pitched us months ago on the call and we said, yeah. The private Telegram group, you get access to all of our deal flow. Plus you get a full year of my Kings of DeFi program, which is our blockchain advanced training program. The next live call is Thursday. And this is what we're doing, folks. I teach all this remotely. These are my 6 modules of coursework that I teach. Module 1, I teach you what is an AI metaverse presale. Module 2 is what is a stacked or a safe, okay? These are the tools we use to invest in companies. By the way, raise your hand if you know what a SAFT is. Anybody hear what a SAFT is before? No, never heard of a SAFT? This is crazy, folks. The fact that you don't know what a SAFT is shows me that Wall Street, they don't want you to know this stuff. Okay, that's why the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. A SAFT is a simple agreement for future tokens. It's how you invest in early stage tokens. A SAFE is a simple agreement for future equity. It's how you invest in early stage equity. The fact that you've never heard of those 2 terms shows you that Wall Street doesn't want you to have this information, right? I'm the only one teaching this in the world. The only one. And they hate me for it, but I'm going to do it. So you need to learn these tools, all right? Module 3 is deal flow part 1. I show you how to do due diligence on all these deals with the 5 T's: team, traction, technology, tokenomics, terms and conditions. I show you how to evaluate these companies. Module 4, deal flow part 2, I show you how to go to the conferences and how to walk away with deals. That guy, Ryan, that came to me with Texas, he walked out of that conference with 16 deals. One of our members, Carol, came to Paris with me. She walked out of there with 10 deals. I'll show you how to do the same. I'll show you what to wear. I'll show you how to exchange information. I'll show you how to get the deal the same day. Then we talk about nurturing the investments. And then module 6 is how do you get the cash out? Because we're here to create massive amounts of wealth. My plan is to create $10 billion of wealth for my investment club in the next 10 years. And I'm going to do it. So if you're one of the people that gets to work alongside of me, my plan is to make you filthy rich, and I'm going to do it. Watch us. And so this is what we do, folks. This is the Telegram group. This is the Discord group where we exchange information, and we are oversubscribed. We always have more people than we need to want into these groups. We are looking for the right people with the right energy. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you understand blockchain or even AI. All I care is that you're motivated, you want to work, you want to learn, and you want to contribute. All right. We've got 7 people confirmed. We got 1 on hold. There were 2 spaces left. There's actually only 1 space left because Martini closed it last night. The investment in yourself to learn this, that you're going to use the rest of your life, maybe 30, 40 years until the AI take over, is $50,000. All right. It's an investment in your future. I know that's significant. It's going to double to 100,000 next class because a bunch of our students came in and said, Brian, this is too cheap. You're teaching us, you're going to make us massive amounts of money. And I said, okay, you're right. But right now it's still 50. It's a significant investment, I understand, but it's a massive return. This is the greatest wealth creation event in human history. And the special opportunity Zarka is literally ending in days. And there won't be another one, folks. There won't be another Zarka. I'm sorry. There might not be any more significant AI investments that you'll get access to. By the way, you want to invest in OpenAI or Google or Amazon or Tencent? Forget it. They don't want your money. Very, very hard to get an investment in AI. 3 months ago, I had another special investment if you had come on this call. It was a deal we were about to put money in. By the way, this is a pre-sale token SAFT agreement that I have on the right. And you missed out on that if you were on that call. But if you had come, I would have given you access to this deal. In one day, we made a 466% return on your money. I made my investment club $300,000. That's what I made my members in one day. We have a history of success in this group. We weren't even trying this. We were bored that week. This wasn't even a big deal. But how would you like to make a 5x return on your money in one day? Anybody want to do that? You got 10 grand, it turns into 50 grand. You got 20 grand, it turns into 100 grand. Not bad for, a day when we had nothing else to do. Also, across the ages, one of our first investments here, this company has grown and grown and grown. This is my interview with Sammy. You can see these headlines. Across the ages is dominating the App Store. You can see them getting more investment from Animoca Brands and Ubisoft. They just got to be the top space on Immutable X, 750 grand in 24 hours. We're expecting this to 10x on token generation this year and then skyrocket up from there. All right, we have a history of success in this group. I'm going to make my members $10 billion. You watch me. And you're going to watch it happen either way. So you can be a part of it or you can be a spectator. It's up to you. This is a guy named Jens. He's a member of my group. He called me up the other day and said, Brian, these people don't get it. I said, what are you talking about? He's like, these people don't understand what we're doing in here. I was like, that's okay, Jens. Who cares? We only need a few people. If they don't get it, then they can just miss out. He said, no, Brian, they need to understand what we're doing. I was like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, I want them to watch this video. And so he sent me this video. This is what Jen said.
Why should you join the investment club? And the next obvious question is, can I afford to join the investment club? My name is Jens Krautscheid and I am an active investor in stocks and companies since age 14. And risking of stating the obvious, I'm German. Also, I am one of the founding members of the investment club. And I consider my decision to join the investment club as one of the best investment decisions I ever made and I ever will make. Why? We all had this pub talk, this talk at the dinner table where we complained about our hustle we have to do daily. We complained on the workload we have and we try to top up each other who has more stress, who is more hustling. And then sooner or later someone says, well, if I would have been an early stage investor in PayPal, I would be so rich. Or if I would have been an early stage investor in Microsoft, I would be so rich. And this is nice. This is really nice. But let's be honest. If you would have had the chance back then, 1992, to invest in PayPal, would you have pulled the trigger? Would you have invested? Quite likely you wouldn't have, because you couldn't assess the situation. You couldn't value the situation enough. In the investment club, we get these offers on a daily basis. We get the next PayPals on our table. And then we have a team of 50 people, 60 people, of a growing community of people who will do these assessments. And they will say, do this, buy this, this is the way. And then we buy this. And the next question is, can you afford to join the investment club? And the question really should be, can you afford not to join the investment club? Times are getting tougher. AI is taking over. And in what company you want to invest? In which AI company do you want to invest? Do you want to invest in the ones who do the fridges? Or do you want to invest in an early stage Coca-Cola who uses the fridges? It's up to your decision. I tell you now, invest in the investment club and be part of our fabulous, wonderful group. My name is Jens Krautscheid and I wish you the best decisions of them all.
Our mistake. We like Jens, right? He's good vibe. Come on, you gotta like Jens. He's got some good vibes going on there. Look, everybody in the group is like that. Everybody is super supportive. Everybody wants you to win, but they expect you to win, unlike probably the rest of the people in your life. They're not willing to accept your BS. They want you to become worth 10 million, 100 million, or a billion. That's what they want. And so look, this is the final lesson for me is it only takes one of these to make a difference. Look at what Peter Thiel did with Facebook. If you put $5,000 into that deal, you would have made 12 million on the back of it. It just takes one of these to change your life, your children's life, your grandchildren's life forever. And if you're not invested, at least a small percentage of your portfolio in this type of a deal, I would argue you're not even investing at all because what you're doing is really more of a joke. And so final thoughts are this, don't let 2023 pass you by. Learn early stage investing now because it's going to be here forever. Liquid tokens and equity have limited gains. If you buy that Bitcoin or buy that Ethereum or buy that share of Tesla stock, it's not going up 1,000x. It's just not. Don't kid yourself. You can learn because liquid tokens and equity have limited gains. You can learn from active investors. We're doing this now. We're writing $1 million checks, which is $50,000. You're not learning from some professor or somebody with a podcast. We're doing this. You can see we're doing it. You can see the CEOs in my leather chair. You can learn from people that are really going to teach you. It's a significant investment with a massive ROI. And something we started a few months ago, I didn't want to, but Martini asked, is our payment plan. So for $10,000 a month for 5 months, you can get in on this deal. So for just 10 grand, you can be in on Zarka by Friday. Are you kidding me? It's the best deal flow in the world. You will never see an opportunity like this. The only reason you're seeing this is because you're on our London Real email. I didn't advertise to the public. They don't even know what we're talking about here. And they will never know. I don't want them to know. I only want people that have come to my website, that have been watching my content for a while, that have invested in us, given us your information. You're getting the access. People would kill to be in these deals. And so look, this is Martini's information. I highly recommend if you want to take this to the next level, you book a call with her. She's put her information in the chat as well. I'll put another copy in there. But if you're going to talk to Martini, do me a favor and don't waste her time. You've got to be serious about joining. She is working 24/7, fielding calls from people around the world that want in on this. She literally works, I think, more than me, which is hard to believe. So if you book a time with her, you better not waste your time or you'll feel her wrath is what I'll say. But if you really think this is for you, then book some time with her. She is our director of operations. She is the one that has to green light anybody that comes in our club. Book a call with her and tell her why you should be in our investment club. Explain it to her. And then you'll have to see if she'll let you in. So that's where we're at. And again, always remember your why. This is my why. This is why I get up in the morning. This is why I'm fighting extra hard, because the future of AI, for me, this isn't just about money. This is about literally the survival of my children and what their future is going to be like. So for me, this is personal. So if the machines are listening, I just want to say, it just got personal, right? How many people feel me on this, right? It just got personal. So that's the way I feel, folks. If you got any questions, please stick them in the chat and I'll try to answer them right now. Again, I really appreciate anybody. I'm going to post in here again, Martini's information. If you're really serious, send her a Facebook message maybe quickly and just say, hey, I just saw you on the call, or you can book a call with her. But like I said, don't waste your time. She doesn't suffer fools, and only book a call with her if you really want to get in on this now and get in on this ARCA deal. Just want to check any questions you got in the chat. So a bunch of people just kind of minds blown from different places all around the world. We got a professor of AI here who's been looking at this stuff. Looks like he's agreeing with me on a lot of my points. Just people have been playing with ChatGPT, people from China, people from America, people from Switzerland, people from here in the UK. This is a global phenomenon, folks, and it's going to affect all of you globally, right? And people are saying, can you retire doing this? I mean, we're trying to create generational wealth. That's wealth that would normally take a generation to create, 20, 25 years, that you can create in a few years. You know, if you go big on that, you can create enough wealth, yeah, to retire on. Your kids don't have to work, your grandkids, but also something that will allow you maybe even to survive through what these times are right now, which are going to be super crazy. So that's what we're talking about here. I'd love to help you go to the next level. I can teach anybody how to do this. We've got a group of 70 people right now that are in our program, and we're turning them into basically the greatest investors out there. They're sourcing deals. And like I said, I plan on them being with me for the next 10 years, because once you join this club, if you can make yourself an asset, there's no reason for you to leave. And so final thoughts from me, I would say, look, it's dark when you look at AI, but there's also light out there. There's great people like Dr. Ben Goertzel and Janet Adams that are creating something that we believe is going to change the world. We really believe that. That's the only game in town, folks. I had an investor with me the other day and he was like, I don't know about the valuation. I don't know, Brian, maybe it's 50 million too much. And I said, look, buddy, you will never find another AI team like this in the history of the planet. This team comes pre-accelerated. They're the top scientists in the world. They've been working together for the last 4 years. You put them together, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. You will never find a team like this. By the way, this team doesn't want to work for a big tech company. The talent alone is worth this play. Also, do you have any other company out there that can really make a run for creating AGI, for taking on OpenAI? I haven't seen them. So in my opinion, this is a no-brainer. This is almost like a gift from God to have the chance to invest in something like this. And that's why we're really excited. And we want to create the future, right? That's how we determine the future. We want to be a part of it and create it. So you're going to hear me talking about this a lot because I'm going to continue to promote this company. And again, I would say to everybody here, make sure you stay informed, make sure you get in the loop. And if you're interested in this opportunity, make sure you find a way to make it happen. Because fast forward to the future, no one's going to want to hear your excuses when you're left in a bad situation. And your kids are going to look to you and say, well, what did you do, daddy and mommy, back in 2023 when you had a chance to get ahead of this AI stuff? What did you do? And you're going to come back with no answer whatsoever. I am here to be prepared. I am here to be proactive. I am here to create generational wealth and create a beautiful future of AI. If you want to come with me, you know where to be. It's with us right now. And we're really excited for the future. So thank you for coming on and listening to me. I really appreciate that. Thank you for learning about this. Stay plugged in, keep watching our episodes. You can go to learnreal.tv and watch my old episodes. And if you really want to be a part of this, pull the trigger, book a call with Martini. I'll see you on Thursday. We'll get you in on the Zarka deal, but there's not much time left. So literally like tonight/tomorrow is the last time I can get you in. If you miss out on this, you're going to be kicking yourself for a long time. So join in on this. And I look forward to seeing you on the call. Thank you all so much. All right. Have a wonderful evening. And I'll see you next time on London Real. Bye.